Hey everyone, welcome to today's installment of Disenfranchised. We're on number 4, and I'm really stoked. I'm really enjoying doing this series. Hey Dominic, good to see you again, man. Welcome to the stream, dude. Yeah, so today there are some like things that we could cover. The Gotham Independent Film Awards have released their nominees for 2024, but I'd rather just cover the winners because I have a fun segment lined up for today to sort of just you know have some fun, to do something a little bit less formal. We are going to break down the new Vinegar Syndrome and the new releases from Vinegar Syndrome and their partner labels. And as always, we're going to end our stream with another short film. But before I get into all that, I want to talk about something that I teased at the end of last week's episode. And it's a good and it's well, let me get start off with this. Unfortunately, um, for reasons that will become apparent in a moment, I was not able to have a video package ready for today's episode, which is my intent. But I will have one within 2 weeks because this is a fun event. What I found there was really remarkable. So let me just go ahead and break the story down. So on October 25th in Watsonville, California, in a small like little back room like office that's like located on the second floor of a storage bill of a public storage spot, right? Yeah, they were having a local a horror film showcase primarily from local filmmakers, right? And Watsonville, for those who don't know, is sort of like for those who know, like Santa Cruz and Capitola, those are sort of the real bougie, very, let's say, very very white, like parts of the central coast of that whole area, going down to Monterey. But then there's Salinas and Watsonville, which are a lot more dominated by Mexican people. Watsonville has a very like substantial agricultural like industry, so you go over there, and it's really interesting because like I went there early enough to go and get some food at a some place in downtown. So I was exploring the downtown area, and it's crazy just how much it reminded me of downtown Santa Cruz and of downtown Capitola, because like it had that sort of vibe, right? It had that sort of like small town with a strong personality vibe, with a very strong sense of community. But this time it was like all Hispanic people, with all Hispanic like you know um stores and all that stuff. And when I went there, which is like if only I would have just like drove a little bit further down the street, I would have found like this whole little street food fair they had, and I would have like gone there instead. But instead, I went to this really really solid, a little bit overrated in my opinion from what I read in the reviews, but pretty solid burger joint. I'm not going to say the name out of respect. But anyways, so I go to this I have trouble finding this place because it's literally in the second floor of a public storage building, right? But when I get there, it's essentially like this small little office. There's a lot of young people there, a lot of young Mexican people, right? So like I introduce myself and I tell them about the channel, and I'm expecting it to be a much more, I guess I would say more, I guess mature is the wrong word, but let's just say I was expecting more like experienced filmmakers there. What and I'll follow up on that in a moment. But what was there was a small group of very talented and very creative filmmakers who were all sharing their films, and the whole presentation lasted about an hour. I was able to talk to one of the directors and one of the camera operators for one of the films that was screened. And after the event, I did contact gosh, I want to make sure I got his name right, but he runs Calaveras Media, and his name is, I think, Gabriel Medina. I want to make sure that I have that right. That sounds right, but I don't want to mess his name up. Anyways, he is yeah, he's the leader of Calaveras Media. And let me see here. Gmail.com. Let's see. Yeah, of Calaveras Media, and he runs the Central Coast Filmmakers Alliance, which was the presentation that put it on. What's his name? I want to make sure I got it right here. Uh, Gabriel Medina. Yeah. So, anyways, he is himself a very talented director. We screened a couple of his films, and so I contacted him, and surprise, surprise, apparently the guy is running for the school district for being on the school board. And because of that, he wasn't able to be at the screening, and I was like, dude, when I found this out, I was like, that's awesome. Because what I found out was that essentially he runs a program where he helps young kids in the Watsonville area. It's Watsonville and Pajaro, which make up like Pajaro Valley. And they're primarily like young, working class. They're Mexican kids that they're young Mexican kids from like late high school and early college. And they're from like working class Mexican families who probably, um, don't have a lot of access to filmmaking equipment and filmmaking know-how, and he gives these kids a lot of creative latitude to tell their stories, and a lot of them choose to tell stories very much focused on the Mexican immigrant experience. And two of his films specifically spoke to me very much. Eternidad, which is a horror dance film, which I guess Suspiria, Climax, and now Eternidad, in terms of really awesome horror dance films. Yeah, Black Swan, I guess too. Um, and then there was Cypress Park, which is essentially like a borderline like Spielbergian short film about this kid going on this magical realist journey. And for those who don't know, like magical realism is a very strong facet of Mexican literature, Mexican storytelling, and he utilizes that very effectively in his films. I hope to be able to show them here. I wasn't able to find any of them for this episode, either on Vimeo or on YouTube, but it's a shame because he makes some really great stuff. Gabriel Medina, keep an eye out for him. But anyways, I was able to talk to him, and because he is running for school board at Watsonville, which I think is really awesome, and I wish him the best of luck with that. And he's having his election, of course, on Tuesday. By the way, everybody go vote. I am, of course, voting for Harris Waltz. I'm not gonna sit here and excuse me, lecture anyone on why they should vote my way or another, but I definitely have my reasons. If anybody wants to hear it, I'll be happy to discuss them. But I'm not going to do it unprovoked. But I am voting for Harris Waltz, obviously. I believe that if you are anti-fascist, or let me just rephrase that. If you're against fascism, if you're not necessarily an anti-fascist, if that word term is too loaded for you, I think you should also vote for Harris Waltz, and that's all I'm going to say. Um, Anyways, because of his election, he's obviously too busy to take time to talk, and I respect that. So on Friday, we will be speaking, but we're going to be speaking after the stream. So that means not next Friday, but in 2 weeks, I will finally have a video package for that organization ready that's going to tell the story more in full. We'll feature my interview with the filmmakers there and with Gabriel Medina, and I am very excited for that. I had every intention of covering a bigger event and having more to put together, but as of right now, yeah, I think it'd be for the best to wait for a much better product. So please bear with me for that video because that's going to be a fun one. Now, sort of onto the main event here, which is going to be a very fun list here. We're going to go ahead and talk about movies that I love, that other people hate, The what I like to call everybody is wrong but me. Everybody is wrong but me list, and it's it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of fun. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and go from like the most like the films that are the easiest to defend to the films that are the hardest to defend, and yeah, and also like it's gonna be fun for me because I'm gonna try to make a genuine case for why these movies are misunderstood. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with a really easy one here, right? We're gonna go ahead and start off with a softball. All right, one movie that everybody let's see, yeah, one movie that everybody hates, or not even one movie, a movie series that everybody hates for absolutely no reason that I personally really enjoy, is James Cameron's Avatar series. First of all, I want to start off with this, okay? There is this narrative that has existed for a long time about this series that says that Avatar has no cultural relevance, and I call bullcrap on that. I absolutely call bullcrap on that, okay? Um Movies that have no cultural relevance don't get always brought up when people discuss cultural irrelevance, right? Uh, God damn it. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just do that then. I'll just do that for now. Okay, like movies that are genuinely like culturally irrelevant are movies like the Ugly Truth. The Ugly Truth is a romantic comedy that came out like in 2009, starring Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler. I saw it with my ex girlfriend in theaters a long, long time ago. That's the first time anybody has brought that movie up since it came out. I promise you that. That movie right there, that is culturally irrelevant because again, nobody ever talks about it. If everybody agrees and the constant like consensus on the Avatar series is that it has no cultural relevance, that means everybody is still aware of it. Everybody is still talking about it, even if it's to a negative extent, Um, Never underestimate James Cameron. His movies, they have like an appeal, an everlasting appeal to them. Because let's put it this way, right? I'm not just defending like one Avatar movie in general. I'm talking about the whole universe here. Because I thought the first time I saw it, which was the opening Friday night, which is in 3D as intended, right? It was a pretty awesome experience. Like it was a predictable story. They kind of both movies are, frankly, but it was a pretty solid experience. And then about a month and a half later, I saw it again in 2D. Just did not hold up. Did not hold up whatsoever. And I think what's interesting about Avatar for me is that it sort of begs the question: is a good movie an infinitely rewatchable movie? Is there such thing as a good movie that is only good once and you don't need to watch it again, right? Because a lot of people agree. A lot of people agree that movies like Requiem for a Dream are amazing movies, you know, or or any Lars von Trier movie, right? Like any Lars von Trier movie. They're all heavy, they're all very dark, they're all very blunt, that I've never seen any of the Avatar films and have no interest in seeing them. Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's how I feel about the MCU. But what I'm saying about like the sort of discourse around Avatar is that nobody thinks twice about saying like, Requiem for a Dream or Breaking the Waves. Hi, Blah, by the way, or Breaking the Waves, or any Michael Haneke movie. Nobody ever has any problem saying these movies are brilliant, right? Like funny games. Like these movies are brilliant. I'll never see them again. But everybody agrees you see them one time and they're amazing. That's all you need to see them. Nobody says that as a negative about the Avatar movies. And I think that like that's unfair. I think like people just like to kick something while it's down, especially when it's something that's so successful. So yeah, like the first Avatar movie, it only works one time, and that's fine. Like it's a one and done experience, but it's a hell of a one and done experience. The second movie, I think, is substantially better, but I'm so scared off from my experience. The second time trying to watch Avatar Part One that I haven't seen the sequel a second time yet. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if it holds up because I just think like the second one, is a much more interesting movie. You know, it's no more or less predictable than the first one, but I think there's something to be said that in this like $350 million budget movie, right? That went on to make $2 billion, and it's all this like cutting edge technology and CGI that took what like 12 years to make it to the screen. The fact that a movie with that budget, right, that was that successful, and that had this much like access to so much cutting edge technology, the good like middle hour of this movie is just like a family drama. It's just like a little indie movie about like this family who is out of place in this new community, as they seek refuge from somebody from like these bad guys that's trying to hunt them down. And it really is just like a bunch of kids, you know, dealing with their new rivalries, with their new crushes, while mom and dad are fighting with the politics. It's literally just like Little Miss Sunshine, basically, but with giant blue cat people. And I just think like that's kind of if nothing else, you got to say that's interesting. And you know, spoilers for Avatar Part Two, but like the end of Avatar Part Two, and this is why I can't take anyone seriously when they say that these movies are just like completely artless, or anything like that. Because at the end of Avatar Part Two, right? Let's just spoil the whole thing. After Neytiri loses her like native Navi son, her oldest child, right? After he dies in the arms of human beings, she holds her like adopted human child hostage, threatens to kill it, you know, to sort of like get I forgot the circumstances, but I really think that any movie with this budget, you know, with this much on the line, that literally ends its that has like its entire like big climactic like third act action scene like end on this sequence of a mother threatening to kill her own adopted child. Like that's risky, that is creatively risky, and that would be creatively risky on the small budget. The fact that it's that they do that on a movie of this scale, you got to admit like that's ballsy, and that's really like bold and borderline like brave, you know. So that's just the movies. There's one more thing that I want to talk about when it comes to the Avatar universe, right? um because while I think it's gameplay wise mostly mediocre, right, it's a pretty mediocre like standard Ubisoft game. Avatar the Frontiers of Pandora, dude, like that game is like an experience. That like I played it with the Pulse Elite headset, which has like a really crisp and clear audio. And I remember the first time that I get introduced into the jungle, like out into the open world, I was like actually physically overwhelmed by how much audio detail I could hear. And this is like one of the very few games that I literally don't listen to any podcasts or anything like that. I enjoy existing in this world, and literally like just the audio experience is one thing, but like um the game really manages to highlight what makes the Avatar universe really fucking appealing, which is primarily its like visual design, its visual elements. It like just like the movies, there's nothing deep about this game. But what I realized playing that game is, you know what? Like I enjoy this universe. I'm not like the biggest fan of the Avatar series, but as you guys can tell, I could go on about 17 minutes about why this movie is, or about 15 minutes about why this movie is overhated. And not just I'm sorry, not just the movies, but the whole series. And unfortunately, like, and I really hope that, and I God, I really hate to say this, but you know, for what it's worth, James Cameron has a sort of money to extend his life, I think, as much as he wants, in my opinion. Um, but like, this might be his last thing, you know. And say what you will about this series, when you watch them, you can't deny the passion and the vision James Cameron is displaying here. So if this is his last, like, unfortunate, and I hate again, I don't want to say it. If this is like the last thing we ever get out of him, it's wholly truly his. And I don't think we should knock something for being sincere, which is probably going to be a running theme throughout this ongoing list of movies that I hate or movies that everybody else hates that I love. And this is the first entry. That was Avatar, the entire Avatar universe. Let's see what the next one's gonna be. I already did Avatar. Well, what's gonna be a fun one here? Let's go with something. Let's go with something a little bit less. Let's do something a little bit newer. All right, let's go with M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. I saw this movie with my dad and my brother opening Sunday morning, and sorry, it's probably just a fucking garbage man or whatever. Let's see. Cameron has earned the cash to make whatever he likes. I'd rather a film with passion than a soulless money grab. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it bothers me that people consider Avatar a soulless money grab because if it was a soulless money grab, it would have gotten the whole saga by now. Clearly, the dude is taking his time and really cares about the Avatar universe. But yeah, let's talk about let's talk about M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, right? Because this movie was a revelation to me. You know, um, I think like a lot of us, I have a hey Jeremy, good to see you again, man. I think like a lot of us, I think we all have a very complex, very uniquely complex relationship with M. Night Shyamalan because when I was a kid, he was like the shit, right? Like even like non-movie kids, like who knew maybe non-movie kids knew the name. Non-movie kids like knew that if a Shyamalan movie was out, like it was going to be something worth paying attention to. And I'll never forget the opening weekend where my brothers and I convinced my mom to take us to the movie theater to watch Signs, and I just remember like this one scene because it was a packed house. Me, my brothers, and all my neighborhood friends, we were right there, like close to the screen because we got like some of the last minute like tickets available. And it's that shot where the green alien walks across the whatever the alley. The it's behind that scene, and I just remember like when the green alien walks, like all the kids in the front row lifted their legs up, like holy shit. We all like talk about that, but like Shyamalan to me, and I think for a lot of us has like a lot of like nostalgic like appeal. And I think he was a lot of our like for a lot of us, he was like baby's first introduction into auteurism and stuff because there was something about Shyamalan movies, the way they looked, the way the camera worked, and even their dialogue back then, that was uniquely his. And I just remember that like uh God, what was it for me? I defended the village. I defended the village for a long time, but I haven't gone back to see it. Um but I remember when the happening came out, like I thought, man, the dude lost it. The dude absolutely lost it. And I remember watching all the interviews and all the behind the scenes footage. There's that famous one where Mark Wahlberg is clearly frustrated and asking M. Night Shyamalan for like some clarifying information in his direction and for his direction in the scene. And he's asking some like legitimate like logical questions like, wait, why is this happening and this and that and this and that? And M. Night Shyamalan just like grins and says, Mark, it's a movie. It's just a movie, like whatever. It's just a movie. And I used to think that was a cop out. I used to think that was a serious cop out. But then I watched Trap. All right. And I feel like I get it. I feel like I understand what M. Night Shyamalan was saying in that moment with Mark Wahlberg when they was making The Happening, when he said, Mark, it's just a movie, because like Trap has some ridiculous logical leaps. Okay. I'm not a fan of his films, but they are always bad in interesting ways. That's what makes them unmissable. Dude, okay. Just like a quick segue into more Shyamalan. His old, the 2022 movie. That movie, like literally one scene will have like some of the best work he's ever done as a writer and as a director. And then the next scene like has like some of his worst, like absolute worst, like most boring, like unmotivated like camera moves, like terrible dialogue, and then the next scene will just like holy crap that like hits me in the heart. Like watching that movie like gives me fucking like whiplash, you know. But old was like I'm glad you brought it up in some way because old was like my first like hint towards this direction, you know, because again, Trap has some serious logical flaws. It doesn't um it doesn't have, let's see, it's structured in an interesting way and the pacing is very wonky. It goes on arguably for like one act too long. What else is wrong about it? You know, the dialogue is Shyamalan Shyamalan ass dialogue. Um and yet like despite its flaws, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved Trap. And it's so weird because like every time that I kept thinking like, okay, that line, this whatever, this character scene, this scene is going on for too long. Whatever concern I had in my head, like I kept picturing M Night Shyamalan grinning and saying, "Ed, it's just a movie, man." And I got it. It's like this movie has one aim. It has one purpose. It has one goal, and that's to entertain the shit out of you. That's all Trap wants to do. That is all it promises to do. It does not promise to make absolute sense. It does not promise to be like perfectly tight or anything like that. It basically just says, I am here to have a shit ton of fun. And the movie completely delivers on that premise, despite all its flaws. And this is gonna sound like a hell of a fucking reach, but stick with me here, okay? Because I am not saying these two movies are of similar quality. Sorry, guys. I'm sort of itchy because like I got a long story. But anyways, um so what I'm getting at is yeah, what was I saying? Where was I? I was talking about Trap. Right. Okay, cuz all right. So this is going to sound like a ridiculous comparison to make, right? But when I was watching Killers of the Flower Moon, and again, I'm not saying these two movies are of similar quality. When I was watching Colors of the Flower Moon, in the second half, I kept having to use the bathroom. I kept having to go take a piss, right? And I was getting a little bit frustrated because every time I got up, like the setup of the next scene, like the first shot was instantly compelling, and I had to sit down and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I gotta see what happens next, and it just kept happening till eventually, like I just sat through the whole movie without having to go to the bathroom despite really needing to for the last like hour and a half. It's a very long movie. But I felt sort of the same emotion here with Trap, where like I kept wanting to be like, okay, this is going on a little bit too long. Like, where are we going with this? You know? Um, and everything just went on a little again, like a lot of scenes went on just a little bit too long. A lot of like acts, I guess you could say, stretched out a little bit, especially towards the end. But like every setup was interesting. Like every single scene is this dude getting himself into trouble and then like getting himself out of it. And what's really fun about it is that like he's your main character. You know he's a serial killer, if not from the trailers, then from like the very beginning of Act One, right? And yeah, and you're rooting for him the entire way, all the way through the very end. And, God, yeah, and it just sort of really unlocked, like, what M. Night Shyamalan the wavelength he's been writing on for the past, like, what, 14 years now, you know? He just kind of wants to entertain now. I think he got sick and tired of being M. Night Shyamalan, the next Steven Spielberg. I think he just wants to, like, present these goofy ideas and have fun with the premises. And now that, like, I understand that, I wanna go back and I wanna rewatch at least The Happening, and if not that, like, a bunch of and not just that, but, like, a bunch of his later stuff because, like, I feel like I get it, you know? And, yeah, and that's Trap. That movie, I think it's on HBO Max right now. I highly recommend it. Again, another movie that everybody else hates, but that I really enjoy. Let's see what's gonna be another fun one here. What's a fun one to follow that up with? Talked about Trap. We talked about Avatar. I forgave him for Avatar. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of it, dude. I'm a big fan of it myself. Let's see. What's a good next one to start with? I'm gonna say that one towards the end. Yeah. Okay, let's go with the a lesser covered one, right? And that is Phil Tippett's. And hey, Dio Brando, good to see you again, man. And that is Phil Tippett's Mad God. Yeah. So funny enough, Dominic St. Clair. I covered this movie when we did a show together back in the day, over on his channel, and I remember just like suggesting this because I'm like, it's a curiosity. Like it's a movie that Phil Tippett kind of worked on as sort of like revenge for getting fired essentially for doing all the animation work for Jurassic Park. At least that's my theory. I think that like he saw that CGI was taking over, and he was like, "You know what? You can still do." He was like, "You know what? You can still do some really cutting edge stuff with like stop motion animation." And I think he spent like the next couple of decades of his life trying to prove that. Trying to prove that like stop motion still has its place, and he delivers this like really abstract, really like really atmospheric, um, and really trippy, like horror experience, and that's really what I like about this movie. It really is just like pure horror, visually, like with the audio and with the sort of like feelings that it evokes, because you don't know what the hell is going on. And I think most people watch it considering it just like a sort of like a plotless experimental film. And I totally get it because it totally has that vibe. It's a sort of an odyssey. It's very episodic, As a fan of stop motion since I was a kid, Mad God was an incredible experience. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I agree, dude. Not only not only does he just craft this nightmarish, like very just unpleasant like world. Like there's a sequence where people are being tortured to the point that they soil themselves. That is played as part of this sort of like life death cycle. It sounds, I mean, it's absurd. It is absurd, and it's totally fucked up. And it's gross and all that shit. But it's also like has this really like um compelling atmosphere. It really sort of gets to you like in this sort of horror of the unknown, because you don't even understand like what's happening half the time. And then at some point, like halfway through the movie, something happens and it sort of starts to tie itself together. Dio Brando says Mad God relies on the viewer to make heads or tails of what they're seeing. That's why it doesn't click with a lot of people. Yeah, I know, but you know what? Like when I covered this over on that other channel, I remember I was talking to him, and he was like sort of saying like, yeah, dude, like I really like he agreed with me that he agreed with me that like it's a hell of a like an experience in terms of like horror in terms of filmmaking. And Dom, if you're in the chat, go ahead and feel free to clarify what you said, because I might be misremembering it. But he said himself that like he liked the experience, but he was also confused as to what was going on, And so like sorry guys, like uh when you have to like do this much talking. But anyways, so when I explained it like this, is that like it's called Mad God, right? Like it's right there in the title. God. It's a creation myth. If you pay attention to the journey, the character gets blown up halfway through the film and is reborn. And I told him like the best way, I told him the best way to sort of think about this film's like plot and its sort of like framework is like think 2001: A Space Odyssey. Especially like it even has like a whole sequence where it goes through this psychedelic um color and shape fueled like sequence in the end. um and then clearly you see this creature in a plague doctor mask that is floating and is clearly like creating the universe and stuff, and that's the Mad God. That person right there. The film is essentially telling the story of like the world as we know it, because something that's sort of interesting about the design of the world of Mad God is that it's very clearly industrial in the way that our world is. And I think what this film is saying, right, is that our industrial world is a reflection of the mad god, the evil god who came from the sort of nightmarish world that we see throughout the film. We are seeing the main character is there to destroy God, essentially, because God is evil in this universe. And then because that universe is a reflection of our real, like, industrial world, the movie is arguing that the origins of our world, the evil world that like that's this evil god created, is our industrial world. And yeah, like at least that's my understanding, that's my reading of the movie. And yeah, like I don't know, man, like it's one of those things where like I feel, and maybe and you know, maybe it's just my experiences, right? But before I started getting into collecting um you know, Blu-rays and 4Ks and all that stuff again, until I started doing that, I didn't rewatch a lot of stuff. Even stuff that I really enjoyed, I mostly just watched it once and kind of moved on. And I feel like that's kind of common. I think maybe sadly, that's a lot of people. I think a lot of people, you know, the ones who did give it a chance, probably walked away feeling a little bit confused, and never watched it again. Where I feel like movies like, you know, and again, I'm not saying this movie is equally as good. I'm saying it's thematically similar, and I think like I'm drawing a comparison for like solely to say that like I think like the idea of rewatching movies or re-releasing them theatrically and all that, or specifically because like movies don't last as long in theaters and modern movies don't get re-released as often, you know, repertory theaters like $3 theaters and stuff like that. People just don't rewatch stuff as much. And I think like I watched it twice for that show, and it was on the second time where it really clicked to me what the movie was getting at in terms of its plot. And Mad God, I think it's definitely trying to be more driven by the atmosphere and driven by the sort of visuals, but I think it's clearly trying to get at something that's very damning and very dark. But I think that it's there and I think that it's readable. So I mean, again, that's just my interpretation of it. I think it's a movie that's very open ended as well. And if you've seen it, I'd really like to hear, because I know everybody agrees that it's definitely like an experiential movie. But I don't know, man. I think the movie is very much getting at something. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I want to see what other people make of it too. So let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, in the comments. And that is another movie that a lot of people hate or at least don't like, but that I love. Let me take a little water break here. All right, moving on. And this one, yeah, this is okay. Let's go the opposite direction here. Let's go something a little bit more lighthearted. I watched with friends a lot. A lot of them couldn't handle it. Well, yeah, dude, like there's that sequence where they're literally like being tortured till they crap themselves. I think I wouldn't blame a lot of people for walking away at that point. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in at that point. Okay, but moving on to the next one. Let's see. Going from horrific experiences to something a little bit more lighthearted. Let's talk about Clerks 2. I don't get it. I do not get what people don't like about this movie. And it's not just me. I remember I saw this opening weekend. I think I saw it the twice, but the maybe it was I don't know. I think one of the two times that I saw it on opening weekend, I saw it with like a group of 4 or 5 friends, and all of us loved it. All of us walked away saying this movie ruled. We all still like have fond memories of watching it together to this day. Yeah, dude, definitely Clerks 2 Defense League right here, dude. But yeah, Clerks 2, and this is gonna be, I think, where it gets controversial. Okay. But I did see the first Clerks and it was really good. Okay. I love Clerks, the original Clerks, right? Um, and I think it's definitely somebody's first movie. It has a lot of rough edges. It's held it's held together by its charm. It's held together by its relatability, but it's definitely somebody's first time writing something and somebody's first time directing something. And Clerks Part Two, in every single way, I've seen. I'll get into my thoughts on Clerks Three in a little bit because well, I'll get into it in a bit. But Clerks Two is just better. It's just a better movie in every single way, and the writing, and the direction, and the acting, and what it's getting at, what it's exploring, is a little more mature, a little more complex. You know, the older that I get, the more the less impressed that I am by movies that are all dialogue. You know, and I've always joked that like Kevin Smith, if podcasts were around in the 90s, I don't think he ever would have made a movie. And that's, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, and I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, it's a bummer because he did make a lot of great films. But I think like um we've heard so much of him talk, or at least I have, right? Through so many podcasts, and so many like movies and so many DVDs and stuff that like watching a lot of his stuff now just kind of feels like just listening to him talking, you know? Um, I think I've outgrown Kevin Smith's comedy. Yeah, I mean, I think like there's you know, I have a pretty juvenile sense of humor, and I can't deny that about myself. I really love I really love just like some goofy fucking gross out shit, you know, like and Clerks 2, yeah. Clerks 2 is definitely one of my favorite gross out movies, especially in the third act. But the reasons why um okay, that's interesting, Jeremy. I'll touch on that. I'll touch on that soon. But yeah, let me see what he says. Speaking of hated Kevin Smith movies, I really enjoy Yoga Hosers. I know it's a bizarre movie, but I thought it was really fun and enjoyably ridiculous. I haven't seen Yoga Hosers, but this is not the last time Kevin Smith is popping up on this list. That's all I'll say. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that was yeah, that whole thing was super funny, and I really like how, you know, Kevin Smith incorporated that in there, right? But what I'm saying about Clerks 2, not only does it get too much hate, and I really do not understand. I really do not understand the hate. Uh, hey, Perp, what's going on, man? Okay, guys. Just hang on for the. If you guys want to hear some Tusk talk, just hold on for a little bit. Some Tusk tactile. If you watch the little movie Perp, you know. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, listen, Clerks 2 is the only time that Kevin Smith has had a budget and actually moved the goddamn camera. And he actually has some goddamn fun with this movie. Something that I liked about like the sort of the middle period of Kevin Smith's like you know, comedy, and I'm talking like Dogma through, let's say Dogma through Clerks 2, is that they weren't afraid to get a little bit ridiculous, a little fantastical, and for me, like this movie has that dance sequence, and like it's kind of like comes out of nowhere. It's kind of nonsensical, but like it's charming, and it's actually like Kevin Smith indulging in himself a little bit as a director and having some fun. And I'm just bringing that up like as just like an example of like the sort of general cheerful vibe that you sort of get throughout this movie because um one of the things that I don't like about Clerks 3 is that it makes hanging out with Dante and Randall a bit of a bummer. And the whole point of the whole appeal of the first Clerks movie is that these dudes are just kind of like they're just kind of fun to be around. You know, them and Jay and Silent Bob as well. Whichever one of those flavors you like the best, you know. And this movie just really indulges like in this fun little atmosphere until the very end. I mean, the climax of this movie is a donkey show, you know. Like the fucking like midpoint, the big sort of like comedy climax is a goddamn gross out sex scene, you know, or you know, not a sex scene, but like a gross out sex comedy scene. But then it takes a really sincere turn, and that third act, like with all of them in the jail, and that reveal where what's her name? What was it gonna? You know, gosh, Rosario Dawson's character, where she turns out to be pregnant and all that, like that last minute bit of like drama, it feels like it comes out of nowhere, but it was just slowly, yeah, Rosario Dawson. It was just sort of slowly kind of building up in the background. And yeah, like I really enjoyed the end of this. Like to me, I feel like Clerks 2 should have been the end of it. It ends on such a like awesome, optimistic note of Randall and Dante just taking full ownership of their lot in life, which is such a huge reflection of where they were in the first film. And if not just that, but like just choosing to like still be best friends and all that. And yeah, I think like that was such a awesome like and especially like the way that it ends, right? With the color to black and white. It's the best work that I think Kevin Smith. I think it's honestly might be Kevin Smith's best movie in terms of just like sheer directing, and like I really enjoyed the idea of Clerks just sort of being something that he comes back to every like 10 or 15 years to comment on. Let's see what little movie perf says here. Clerks 2 is hilarious. The pantyhose story, the donkey the size of the last reference. I did not know this movie was hated. Yeah, dude, no, a lot of people, or maybe it was just like back then, maybe it's been reconsidered and it's much more liked now. But for a long time at least, people did not like Clerks 2. Clerks 3, on the other hand, it's just like it's a bummer, dude. It's a and the worst part about it is that like it's a bad drama, in my opinion, because so much of it is yeah, like it's a bad drama in my opinion because it's all just like messy. All the dramatic elements are sort of dispersed all over the place. And it's one of those movies that ironically needed to shit or get off the pot. It either needed to be a straight drama or needed to be a straight comedy because the comedy is some of the worst that Kevin Smith has ever done in Clerks 3. The jokes don't land, the performances don't land. Like there's a couple of fun references and cameos, and yeah, like a couple of jokes hit here or there, but for the most part, it's just kind of flat lines on the comedy, and the drama is just like too melodramatic. And yeah, in my opinion, the whole Clerks saga would have benefited if it just ended with Clerks 2, because Clerks 3 is just like barely, it's just not even fun. It's not even a fun movie to get through. But in my opinion, yeah, like I said, Clerks 2, not only the best Clerks movie, but in my opinion, the best Kevin Smith movie. Give me a second here. I have to put that down. Hmm. All right, here we go. Yeah, so from Kevin Smith's best movie to Kevin Smith's second best movie. Talking about Tusk, y'all. Yeah. I am glad that a lot of you guys mentioned that before I got to it because dude, Tusk fucking rules in my opinion. I think Tusk is the only good thing. Well, Red State's pretty good, but it's flawed. It's one of those movies that has like a very strong setup and then just kind of flat lines from there on out. But Tusk too, or Tusk is like the best thing in my opinion to come out of Kevin Smith's Canada trilogy, and from his stoner era. I remember listening to the episode where he found this story of the guy with the Craigslist ad and all that, and I thought it would be super funny the way to see it, and he actually made it. And let's sort of address the elephant in the room, right? Which is the yoga hosers connection. Oh, 100%. Yeah, and also yeah, like Michael Parks is amazing in Red State. Nobody is denying that. But I think it's also really unrestrained and a little unnecessary to have that scene where he just does a full sermon for like 20 minutes. Is it well acted? Yeah. Is it a little much, especially for a movie that's that short already? 100% in my opinion. Tusk takes Michael Parks and Kevin Smith finally just like restrains him and focuses him, and I think he just delivers an amazing performance, especially in the climax of the movie. But getting back to what was I saying here? Yeah. Anyways, let's just continue on from there. What I think makes Tusk such an interesting movie. Well, okay, now I remember what I was gonna say now. Let's talk about the Johnny Depp of it all, right? Look, do I think it's a little bit out of place? It's also a legit horror movie. Tusk and never goes so goofy. that it gets you out of it. Yeah. I do agree that Johnny Depp's character in the movie it walks the line, in my opinion. It walks the line, and I think like at the very beginning, we spend a little bit too much time in his introductory scene. It kind of feels like, in my opinion, Kevin Smith trying to do a Tarantino, but like in terms of like a sort of Tarantino-esque reveal. But Kevin Smith is just not Tarantino. Like they're both really good at dialogue, but in totally different ways. Um, and I just don't think it. I think the movie barely escapes the sort of weakness of that character's inclusion in the movie. Because I think the best parts of the movie, in my opinion, let me see. Yeah, I think the best parts of the movie is all the stuff between Michael Parks and Justin Long, obviously. Um, and also like all the stuff with Haley Joel Osment and the girlfriend character. But like what's really interesting to me about um Tusk is that it feels so personal, so bizarrely weirdly personal. And I don't want I don't want to get all like at psychoanalytical here because whatever, it's not my place. But Kevin Smith's recent journey, in terms of like his mental health and him not smoking weed anymore, I think has added a lot of context into the idea of what I've always suspected, of Justin Long reflecting how Kevin Smith views himself as as a podcaster and as a sort of like general like media figure. Um, I find just like the super personal, like self-critical um aspects of turning the main character, who's a literal podcaster in this comedy podcast, to and it's a totally different type of podcast and all that shit, sure. But I think it's hard to deny the connection between the fact that that Kevin Smith was a podcaster more than a director at that time. um and yeah, like something about the idea that this movie sort of ends with Tusk, this with Justin Long's character sort of doomed to be in this body forever. And the sort of whole crux of his character is that like he was never like sincere, he was never like never like emotionally vulnerable and shit like that, and all, and that it ends on him crying, looking at his past life, sort of turned into this monstrosity, that like this is where it all led him to. I think like there was always a really sort of personal like thing about Kevin Smith in that ending and that character that for a long time felt like really elusive and very personal. But I think now, with what we know about like that sort of Kevin Smith persona that he calls it, and the sort of, yeah, like the way that he refers to it, like I think that's him. I think that's the Kevin Smith persona right there. I think that's how he viewed it. And I think in a lot of ways you see him kind of work through that. And yeah, Tusk is more than just like Kevin Smith doing another exercise in the horror genre that's way more like straight up horror, and that is absurd in its own ways. I don't know, like I really feel like you're looking into Kevin Smith's soul right there. And yeah, to me, that's what it's all about, right? Like to me, like cinema should feel that personal and it should feel like that real. And yeah, because of that, despite its flaws, like I think what it manages to be, despite all those issues, makes it like, yeah, his second best movie in my opinion, because it does have some like obvious flaws. But I understand not vibing with it. I understand finding it disturbing and all that. But I don't understand how anybody can call it like a super bad failure of a movie or unwatchable. Like this movie is absolutely compelling. And it's just like Kevin Smith really pushing himself as a director, and as a writer. And I think he just like, yeah, really nails it here in a really, really awesome way, you know? And that's Tusk. That's another movie that a lot of people don't like, but that I'm glad to see a lot of you guys in the chat also love. So let's move on to the next one here. Let's see which ones do we have here? Because that one, yeah, Tusk was pretty intense. People judge films by how much money they make. Unfortunately, that's very true, Bebop. Very true. Yeah. Um, which is weird because a lot of people hate Avatar. Okay, so let's go to something that's a little bit more pop culture. Um, a little less pop counterculture. And that's the latest film by Lana Wachowski, and that's The Matrix Resurrections. Yeah, the first time I watched this movie, I kind of agree with the general sentiment that it felt like a movie that hated itself, that it felt like it needed to make excuses for itself for existing. It felt like a movie that felt reluctantly made. And if there is one criticism that I have with this movie that now that I still have from the first time that I saw it is like some of the most interesting ideas, like it's just like told through montage, like the whole idea that like some of the machines wanted to be free and now live with like people in Zion, like that was such an interesting idea that like as much as I like Matrix Resurrections, I'm like, why isn't that the sequel? Like, why that could be its whatever. Let's talk about the movie we actually got, right? Let's not make that classic mistake of not of reviewing the movie we didn't get. But I rewatched it recently. Uh and I kind of went into it with an open mind because it's one of those movies that even though I didn't like it the first time, and and I don't want to be like that. I don't want to have one of those like X movie is actually good channels or whatever. But like I kind of like feel that if I rewatch Joker 2, I might like it more in in a similar way because I kind of walked away from both of those movies feeling the same way. Like the first time I watched both movies, I felt like very admirable, very brave, very bold failures. Like I didn't think they were good movies. I thought Matrix Resurrections has some like real pacing issues, structural issues and all that sort of stuff in its screenplay. But like what was I saying? Uh yeah, but I did admire it. I did admire it because like I always felt like what was interesting about Matrix Resurrection from part one from day one is like it felt like Lana Wachowski wrestling back the sort of public discourse of the Matrix like saga, the Matrix trilogy, and making it her own sort of personal thing. And that's something that I always sort of like respected and something that always resonated with me. And so when I rewatched it recently, I kind of really kept that in mind. And like I gotta say, dude, like this is the best, easily the best Matrix sequel in the entire saga. Um, outside of the original movie, yeah, I don't think it gets any better than this, you know. And I think frankly, it should just like I think you could easily don't get me wrong, Reloaded and Revolutions, they're interesting sequels, and I think if you cut cut them down to like a single film, it might be better. Or there's a lot. There's a good movie in the Matrix 2 and 3, but it's not Matrix 2 and 3. You know, um, I think like yeah, I think if you just go from Matrix right into Matrix Resurrections, like it's such a it's might be like a more interesting sort of experience, right? Because like when I rewatched it, I really felt like, yeah, this is totally I gotta finish. I gotta finish 4. I think I gave up on it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I understand. It's so weird, right? It's so weird. The second time you watch a movie, because like the first time you watch a movie, you're watching it to understand what it is, right? Like what is it? Like what is the story? And then every time you watch a movie after that, it's about how it is that, or how it changes and all that. And sometimes just like for some reason a movie will click in a totally different way. And the second time that I watched Matrix Resurrections, like I just kind of found it to be like an anti-blockbuster. It's not trying to be an action movie. Like the whole until it is, right? Until it is. And what I like is that throughout various times in this movie, Lana Wachowski gives us the Matrix sequel we want, right? Like the opening is all meta. I don't think anybody could deny that there's at least a couple of like standout moments, you know. Um, and I think a lot of people are conflating the first Matrix movie in terms of quality with the whole sort of like trilogy, the first three movies, because you know while yeah, like the first movie has like fantastic action and all that, two-thirds of the Matrix trilogy, the first three, um, are literally these over the top, overindulgent, kind of silly looking action sequences that are sort of visually ridiculous and all that. And yeah, those are the action sequences that we get here. It's so weird to me how like movies change in people's memory, right? Would you say you generally like movies that have that fuck you punk rock mentality towards the audience? That's the thing, dude. I don't think that Matrix Resurrections it has a sort of fuck you mentality towards the audience. If anything, I sort of found it to be a very sincere and heartwarming sort of story, right? Because what I think is interesting, right? And I'm really glad that you asked that because yeah, it's an anti-blockbuster, but I don't think like being an anti-blockbuster necessarily means it's a fuck you to the audience because like I said, the movie gives you Matrix ass fucking action scenes. It's just that when everybody thinks Matrix ass action scenes, you know, they're thinking about like the first movie. They're thinking about like the bank heist or the bank sequence. They're thinking about the climactic part with the helicopter and all that shit. They're not thinking about like the Burly Brawl. They're not thinking about that 20-minute sequence where it's like rubbery fucking Keanu Reeves CGI like fighting a whole bunch of like 20 fucking people, you know? That is the Matrix too. And those are the exact sort of action sequences that we're getting in the Matrix Resurrections. You know, Lana Wachowski is saying, "Look, here you go. Here's the Matrix. I can give you that." But what I think is interesting to sort of consider with this movie is that this movie is very much a response. From what I saw before, it's making fun of the corporate aspect. Oh yeah, no, definitely. But I think that's sort of like the first layer of it. You know, because like what I think is interesting about like Matrix Resurrections as a response to the sort of Matrix mythology, like how it exists in pop culture and sort of the discourse and all that, is that for so many people who basically misunderstood the Matrix and thinks that it's like it thought it presented Neo society really well. I really like that aspect. Yeah. Well, I really like the second act too, because like what I think is sort of um interesting, right? Is that a lot of people, you know, because of you even see it now with sort of Andrew Tate and this sort of like Matrix, you know, sort of red pill sort of thing. Um, Says we basically lost, but you can still have. Oh, there, oh, we're getting there. You're getting very close there, Gogo Po. By the way, do you like Gogo Bordello? I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know. I disagree with you on that, though. I disagree with you on that. Because like what I love about what this movie is saying, you know, is that it's taking a look at all the people. Lana Wachowski is taking a look at this thing that she created that got away from her, and that a lot of people who fundamentally misunderstood her and like think that she as a trans woman is like invalid and all that, completely misunderstood what she had to say and turned it into this evil thing that allows people to be kind of shitty, you know. And what I think yeah, yeah, no, for sure. But like, it's just like I haven't even seen anybody besides myself even like. Anyways, I just thought it's cool. Gogo and Poe, good shit, dog. But Gogo Bordello rules. If you don't know, check them out. Anyways, what I love about a Matrix Resurrection is that it's saying like, okay, here's your Matrix sequel, right? Here's everything you want. But if you're gonna fucking take my work, okay? If you're gonna take my work and you're gonna take it and you're gonna redefine it to be whatever you want, at the very end of the fucking movie, because like literally the movie doesn't end with with Neo and Trinity defeating the bad guy. It's literally like them looking at like the architect of the shitty matrix that like trapped them and said, "Hey, you know what? Have your fucking shitty world. Have it. You can have it all you fucking want, you know, but you don't get to fucking define it. This is not the real Matrix. Me and my fucking woman here who fucking love each other, okay, we're gonna fucking like fly off and do something that is way fucking cooler than this whack shit that you built for yourself, right? She's looking literally like personified, being like this shitty fucking world that you created based off of my work. Have it, okay? I'm not gonna fucking try to take that away from you, but I'm gonna fucking put the plant down. At the very end of the movie, literally flies away with two people who love each other hand in hand. You know, it's literally her putting her fucking flag on the ground and being like, I want it to be fucking clear from now on. This fucking like saga hasn't it is and always has been about love. You know, it's her taking this fucking thing, um, and I mean, I think like she's not an idiot. Like a lot of people say that like oh like the new bullet time and all that shit like oh it doesn't look as good as like all that shit. It's like yeah because she's not trying to fucking like sell it as an action movie anymore. She doesn't have to, right? Because part of the subtext of the movie is that like it was gonna get made no matter what. The first Matrix wasn't gonna get made no matter what. If it was gonna get made, it had to be a big fucking spectacle action movie. It doesn't have to be that no more. So she's taking advantage of that. She's literally fucking putting the act. She's giving us what we want, what's always been there, but we forgot was there because we just conveniently conflate the first movie with the whole thing. And at the end, she is redefining it and doing something completely bold and completely awesome with it. And I love that, man. And I don't think any of that is unintentional. And I don't think any of that is like some superfluous thing that she made out of like a cynical place. I think it's her like taking this thing and saying fuck what everyone says, love. So yeah, like you're absolutely right. It's saying we lost, like it's her saying this thing is out there. I can't fight this thing that's out there, but here is love. And I don't know, man, like the older I get, man, like the more this sincere cornball shit really fucking speaks to me. And yeah, between this and Cloud Atlas, I really, really love this sincere heart on their fucking sleeve trend that they're on. Saying saving your loved one from the bowels of hell. Yeah, really cool. Exactly. Yeah, dude. I mean, literally the whole the whole movie is literally like the bad guys fighting the idea that this thing is about love, trying to keep these people away from each other so that this thing can't be about love. It's literally saying in this toxic understanding of the world of the Matrix, love is a bad thing. So yeah, of course it's the crux of it. I don't know, man. Like I get it. And I think like by the way, I would love to see. I know Jeremy shared one earlier when he mentioned yoga hosers, which I haven't seen by the way. But maybe dude, I got to check out a lot of the movies you recommend, man, because you have a really interesting taste in movies. Um, but yeah, I want to know about some of your guys' movies that you love that everybody else hates. Let's get a little dialogue going here. Yeah, let's move on to the next movie. Um, so what have we done already? Let's see. Already did Clerks, already did Tusk, Trap, Matrix, Avatar. What's left? What's left? Mad God. I only got like a couple left here. Yeah, I have four left. So let's go with from a big budget sequel to something a little bit more small scale. Talking about Mr. Plinkett over there. Darren Aronofsky's The Well. Man, damn, what I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, dude. I haven't seen it. But if you loved it, I want to hear what you have to say about it, man, for sure. I would love to hear your defense of it. But yeah, The Whale. Dude, like I don't understand sometimes. How can people hate Avatar Jesus? I know, dude. Go Poe, you get it, brother. You absolutely get it. I love Dead Heat. It's not too highly reviewed. I don't even think I ever heard of Dead Heat, but yeah, that's what's up. Let's see. The Whale, but it's not as good as Noah. Oh, dude, I don't know if you've seen my video essay on Noah, but like if you yeah, like I cover the pre-production, the production and post-production, the controversy, the backlash, and then like how his experience with the controversy like changed his projection as a director forever after that. Like, yeah, I'm really proud of that essay, dude. Like if you want to, you know, yeah, check that out. That's yeah. Zombie buddy cop movie with Vince. Dude, actually sounds pretty legit. I'm not gonna lie. It's a classic. It's not just an 80s cop movie, man. It's a zombie buddy cop movie with Vincent Price. That's how you sell it right there. That's somebody get Dio Brando a fucking job at Vinegar Syndrome. Okay, yeah, but Darren Aronofsky's The Whale. You know, like it's Darren Aronofsky, guys. Like I don't understand the confusion around this dude. This is not like his first movie. This guy has been as subtle as a ton of bricks to the head from day one. Okay, I don't I don't know what anybody ever thought going into any Darren Aronofsky movie expecting some subtle, nuanced, like sort of thing, you know? Aronofsky, like all whatever you got to say about him, the guy is all fucking broad strokes, and he's like the only person who is all broad strokes and doesn't and manages to like still have nuance and like interesting sort of like style and sort of and like all that stuff, you know? This is to me, it's no like different than watching Mickey Rourke, you know, go through all that physical pain or Natalie Portman in Black Swan, you know, go through all that physical transformation and sort of pain to tell these sort of dark stories. They're not super complex, you know, they're borderline moralistic. I mean, you can make an argument at least that Black Swan has some puritanical elements to it, you know. But like they're not strong, but I mean they're definitely there. But I think like yeah, so Darren Aronofsky is not gonna make like a very subtle movie. It's gonna be a little bit blunt. Like what fucking of it, you know? To me, like this this movie just really, despite being unsubtle and all that, like is carried by you know, um God, I can't believe I'm blanking on his fucking name, but Plinkett over there. Ah, shit. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. He's so good in it. But yeah, wants to be. Let me see. Aronofsky wants to be eat you over the head about addiction and evil shit. Yeah, and that's why he's so fucking great. You know. But what was I gonna say? Um, yeah, but this movie is carried primarily by its performances, you know? And the thing is that like it's based on a play, so I don't understand people's confusion on this movie, right? Because Darren Aronofsky, due to the fact that he is so like blunt and all that, his movies like are just elevated. They sort of don't take place on a sort of grounded reality, and they never have, you know? Not just that, on top of that, this is a play. Plays by their very nature, by the fact that they have to compensate by you know having to play towards like the back seats and the difference and sort of suspension of disbelief, they have to be a little bit more broad strokes as well. It's they have to also be a little bit more heightened by their very nature. So this is a movie that by that is sort of elevated. Elevated is the wrong word, but sort of like what's the word? Yeah, no, I guess that is the right word. It's sort of like it you know has two layers of elevated reality and all that shit, and then people sort of hold it against it. Like I see Aronofsky like a less pretentious Coen Brothers and more sincere, in my opinion. I could see that, but I don't know, man. I want to call the Coen Brothers pretentious. I love the well. Yeah, me too. And the rest are good comparisons and on American life in a lot of ways. Yeah, definitely. I think you know, well, what I really like about the whale too is because like the whale sort of feels like an academia response to the wrestler, right? Because this is somebody who sort of is destroying their life, their body through apathy and through sloth essentially and all. And what I really enjoy about this movie as well is that like it's more of an exploration of depression. It's more of an exploration of somebody who is you know that sort of congenitive heart failure is like to me, and I you know it's Aronofsky. I think it's obvious. It's more of a metaphor for living with this sort of suicidal with this low level suicidal depression. You know, because I think you know it's an exaggeration of this sort of existential emptiness that a life of overconsumption leads to. What I think is really interesting about this movie as well, and you know, if you watch my video essay on Noah, I touch about this I touch on this a little bit towards the end of it, that like the religious aspect of this movie, right? The comparison of this sort of like wolf in sheep's clothing Mormon young missionary, and that presents himself as sort of like caring, but it secretly is very judgmental, and contrasting with this guy who is arguably did a sort of selfish thing. Yeah, definitely, yeah, but in a lot of ways, one by depression in different flavors, but like what I think is interesting about the character in The Whale, um, is that like, gosh, what was I saying? Yeah, like he has this like this guilt, he's more motivated by something that he did that was sort of like selfish and all that, but was sort of necessary for him. And that I think in a lot of ways, yeah, that's like the obvious thing that's like eating at him, but um the sort of absolute like sense of loneliness that he feels around him, like I don't know, like I think that there's something like very real and very relatable to that, and I think especially within the context of this movie being like a post-COVID film about this like very secluded guy who doesn't even want to be, who like the movie opens up with the online class and everything, yeah, I think that like Aronofsky is reaching on sort of like the sort of commentary on this empty, disconnected life that we all sort of created for each other. And I think Charlie is the character's name, right? Right. And I think in a lot of ways, um, we're asked to sort of like look at Charlie and sort of like see not necessarily ourselves, but like the conditions of how we cope, within a modern society. Because yeah, I mean, he literally like has a delivery guy who drops off everything, and I don't know. I mean, I've only seen the movie once. Maybe like I should rewatch it more to give it some more like in depth commentary. But I think also like it is an Aronofsky movie. Um, Ultimately, what makes his movies so goddamn good is that he just knows how to like work with actors really well. And the sort of metaphor at the center of this story of Moby Dick and the father daughter relationship, like I don't think anybody could deny that it leads to an incredibly like powerful, very impactful ending. I think as far as I think as far as in a lot of like this is very dark, of course, but as far as like an Aronofsky movie goes, I think this is the happiest ending any movie, any characters in any of his movies like ever got, except outside of Noah, but that's him adapting the Bible, But yeah, that's gonna be The Whale here. We're getting here to like the last like three, which is sort of my big ones, and I think some of you guys are probably gonna not gonna expect some of these, gonna see some of these coming. So I'm gonna go from let's see. Let's go with the modern one. Let's go with the newer one, right? Because you know what? I let's just go with it. Talking about Francis Ford Coppola's 2024 movie. Yeah, let's talk about Megalopolis, dude. I watched this movie on one of the few genuine IMAX screens in the country over at the AMC Metreon in San Francisco, which is where Francis Ford Coppola lives, where he likes to work and all that stuff in that sort of area. It's really about him being forgiven and worked hard to be close to his daughter. Oh yeah, no, definitely, and I mean I think it works. I think undeniably, the ending of that movie. When I went to go see it, there wasn't a dry eye in the house, So like I don't understand the negativity around that one. It's an Aronofsky movie, but yeah, Megalopolis. So earlier this year, I rewatched all the Godfather movies. I got the 4K set, so it came with the Godfather Coda, which is and I talked about it in a stream a long time ago when where I said simply calling it a coda and selling it as an epilogue and along with the re-editing of the film, like the film, like the re-edit of Godfather Part 3 is a bit of a revelation, because I think for the first time the Godfather Part 3 like coda, the Godfather Coda Part 3, whatever, the death of Michael Corleone, whatever the fuck he wants to call the newest cut of it, I think it genuinely manages to be a fantastic send off to the first two movies. Did I watch The Father with Anthony Hopkins? Great movie. I haven't yet, no, but I do want to see that one for sure. But yeah, with Godfather Part 3, Coda. Um, yeah, the recontextualizing of it, the re-editing of it, like it really helped to sort of frame the film as something that is in a lot of ways out, and this is gonna sound like an insult, but it's not. But like it feels like minor, you know? It feels like a minor work. It feels like the minor entry in the franchise. And yeah, that sets up expectations you know, in a lot of different ways. Megalopolis is a fable, okay? And it sells itself as a fable. It has like this big dramatic voiceover and all that. Um, and again, the movie clearly takes we're talking about like post Dracula Francis Ford Coppola, right? He has long been in the sort of practice of creating these super theatrical, super ridiculous, super heightened like worlds and all that. Megalopolis is no different. And yeah, it's ridiculous and it's fantastical. And it's a little bit all over the place, but it is a fable. Like it is supposed to be a little bit on the absurd side, you know? And ultimately, I don't understand what a lot of people find so confusing. A lot of people are saying that Megalopolis is hard to follow, but it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty basic. It's just that Francis Ford Coppola wants to paint this very broad and very big picture. And again, it's all broad strokes, but it's a fable. It's it's fine for the context of what Francis Ford Coppola is trying to do. I think it works, and I think like if the people who don't like it will even agree to when when I say that this movie manages to be like absolutely entertaining from beginning to end, right? And I think it's supposed to be ridiculous. I think Francis Ford Coppola was stoned throughout this whole movie, and it has that stoner vibe because like Megalopolis, it looks like it's yeah, no, I mean it has a lot of visual callbacks to Metropolis, a lot of thematic callbacks too. Um, and yeah, like I think Francis Ford Coppola is having a lot of fun here. He's clearly indulging himself, but like it's not like he made something boring. It's not like he made something interesting that isn't interesting and all that. It's part like a play. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's why it is absolutely like a play. Like there's a there's a that perp that clip that little movie perp always plays like go back to the club. Like it's supposed to be a little ridiculous, you know. I don't think Adam Driver or Francis Ford Coppola like put that like had that happen and thought, yes, we're making a sincere, like dramatic film here. No, like this is a ridiculous world. And it's all about like the sort of ridiculous, like what's the word? The grand like operatic sort of like final days of a collapsing empire that's sort of like filleting itself to death. Like, yeah. Um he's like I really think that Megalopolis is not just like a fun and wild ride, but what I really enjoyed about this movie, and I think especially going back to something that I was getting at when it comes to like Matrix Resurrection, is that like what is what I like punk rock, right? I like punk rock music. I love the Ramones. I love the Misfits. I love some like Against Me and some other like more weirder stuff. But at the same time, like I love me some simple four chord punk rock. You know, with a very simple drum beat. Make it fun, make it memorable, make it catchy. Like I love it. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with being simplistic. Let's see, 20 of his own money. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing that bothers me. Like that's a common thing that people like to criticize movies for. Like, who cares how big a fucking budget is? Like, like is the movie good or not? You know, that's the main question. And when it comes to Megalopolis, what's weird to me is when it comes to the response to it, a lot of people are just mad that it's not like a super deep or super sophisticated movie, you know, that sort of like classic it insists upon itself sort of thing, you know? And it's like, well, yeah, like he's like a fucking 85-year-old dude who's like a successful, wealthy winery owner primarily for the past like 20 years. Why would he make like something that's down to earth or grounded or realistic? No, this dude has not had any idea what life has been like for the working class American for fucking the majority of his life, you know? He's yeah. of course, the thing that he made is not nuanced, and that it definitely suffers from like being a little bit like on the nose and simplistic and all that. But what is wrong with that? He's making a fable. He's making something that is again like a little bit like ridiculous, and a little bit over the top, and he's saying something that's simplistic with it. Like it would be kind of stupid to make that style of movie and try to explore something that is nuanced and deep, right? Like it would be like it's the better choice in my opinion. And I think ultimately, when I think of this movie, like, yeah, I'll admit it's flawed, right? All these movies are flawed in their own ways. All movies are flawed, frankly. Even like quote unquote 10 out of 10 movies, they all have their flaws, in my opinion. And yeah, I think what Francis Ford Coppola is trying to say with Megalopolis, it's just so sincere, and it's so like wholesome, and it's so optimistic, explosions and weed and dialogue. Yeah, no, right. And they probably expected it to be part of some like fucking cinematic universe too. But like it's so wholesome, and it's so sincere, and it's so like optimistic and unapologetically kind. Like, yeah, dude, like I'm all for it. I really am. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I understand not vibing with it. I understand not liking what it's all about, but like, or all that shit. But to say that it's a badly made movie, that it's like unintentionally funny, like, okay, let's be real. It is unintentionally funny at times. Absolutely, but a lot of it is also just funny, right? Like there's the scene with the crossbow in the crotch. If you know, you know. That's comedy right there. That's just ridiculous, and it's stupid. And sometimes this movie just wants to be funny, and that's fine, you know. Um, yeah, that's Megalopolis, and I think I only have two more to go. The Joss Whedon Coppola movie. Well, I mean, he did want to work with people who were canceled, so for all we know, he might have done some touch up on the dialogue. Maybe the "go back to the club." Maybe that line was a Whedon line. Okay, I got two more left. Or let me see here. Let me make sure. Two more movies left. Let's see. Should I do the more popular one first, or the more? Okay. No, you know what? I'm gonna end. I'm gonna end on the big one here. So I'm gonna go with something that's a little bit more obscure, and I'm gonna talk about Michael Cimino's like much maligned, misunderstood 1980s masterpiece, Heaven's Gate. Like all Michael Cimino movies, the first time I watched it, I hated it, you know. But the second time, I laughed when Adam Driver was in the cast. I was just like, honestly, he's like really good at it. Like for what it is, he's really good at it. But yeah, Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. This is a movie that has for like decades now been blamed for the death of the new Hollywood. That's all a bunch of bullshit. I'm not here to really talk about that. I want to talk about the movie itself, right? Because to me, and it's gonna be funny coming from me, like the Kubrick guy, right? What this reminds me most of is 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? There's even similarities in terms of like the imagery of like circular dancing. The blue dye nude pops up in both of them. I can go on, right? But I think Heaven's Gate is really misunderstood because like a lot of people after a while, like their brain just kind of turns off. A lot of people say that this movie is like a lot of nothing happening. And I mean, it's a Michael Cimino movie. Like every scene is arguably like the longest version of that scene, but somehow it works, um but like what with this, if like I've seen this movie 5 times in the last like year and a half, you know and for me, it's a pretty straightforward movie. Like it's a dude who comes back and forth between this town, discovers this plot, and gets everyone together. It's just that like I think with Michael Cimino's directorial style, it's all about like um creating this like world that you live in, while you're watching them and all that. And the sort of and its original cut is so good. When I saw it as a teen, I couldn't understand why people hated it. So I've never seen the shortened version either. I have the Criterion Blu-ray version with the 3 hour and 25-minute cut. Yeah. Um, and it's just like, yeah, it is like what was I getting at? Like it's a pretty simple movie, pretty like straightforward and all that. But what I think like is so interesting about Michael Cimino as a director is that what for me, like once I know that like this is gonna be a long ass fucking movie. Every scene is gonna go on for too long, and I think that's why his movies work for me a second time. Because the first time I go into them, I'm like, why is everything so fucking long? Ah, bullshit. Second time, I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be too long. Everything's gonna go on forever. Let's watch it, right? Um, and what I think is so interesting is that like he indulges himself in all that, but um, in this movie, it's not just like a stylistic thing. He is trying to say something with this film, right? Because this movie opens up in Harvard, in 1869, no, 1869. So, this is the first class of Harvard after the American Civil War, right? The movie is cementing itself here. This is the rebirth of America, and this is Harvard, the richest people in America, like the wealthiest, like fucking the elites of the elite and shit. And all the dialogue in the opening scene of Harvard is all about how like they would much rather party than like have an effect in the real world. Like that's literally the whole thing of it. They all just want to fucking oh, I love the Deer Hunter too. I'm a big Chimino fan, definitely. But the whole point of the Harvard sequence, right, is that it establishes that our main characters are these super wealthy elites who would rather party than to get caught up in the troubles of the working class, who do not care to make an impact, good or bad, in the lives of others, and who just want to fucking party and waste away, you know? In over 20 years. Oh yeah, dude. No, I fucking love this movie. And then like the whole movie is just about like our main guy, our central character, right? Like he's not like a good guy, you know? He is openly cheating on his wife, who we never see. He is this wealthy guy who through connections became the sheriff of this small county, miles like states away from where he actually lives, you know? And we understand that he's basically just a tourist, you know? He's a tourist in sort of like the middle class and all that shit. And everybody in the movie just calls him out on that. Um and he doesn't see it. He sees himself because he's amongst like the working class as one of them and working in their interests when he doesn't even understand how like him as like a member of the law is allowing all this fucked up shit to happen. And there's a sequence right in the middle of the movie, right? And it's the famous one. It's the famous sequence. It's the one that everybody talks about, the one that everybody points to and says, "Look how shitty and self-indulgent this movie is." When like the movie absolutely sets up what it's trying to do with this sequence right in front of it. It's just for some reason everybody either doesn't want to pay attention or they want to ignore it so they can pretend that it's a shittier movie than it is, right? But literally, right before we cut to the infamous 20-minute sequence, right before we cut to the infamous 20-minute dance sequence, we have a scene between Elizabeth Herbert's character, her in the red shirt there, and the main character, where like yeah, he's asking her literally to run away with him because of all the bad shit that's going to happen to the town, and he's trying to protect her, right? And then she's literally like, I can't, I'm not like you. Like everything that I have, I worked for. It's all precious to me. I can't just let it all go and start over again like you did. And then like, yeah, then he's like going on and on, blah blah blah, and she says, and she, I forget what she says, but something about time, and or he says something about time, and she literally says, what, you think just because you're wealthy that you could slow down time? And then the movie literally slows down time. The movie is telling us from the very beginning, this is not like a western about like this small town. This is a movie about how much control the wealthy have in post Civil War America and how it shapes the modern world, right? Literally, this fucking thing is like the brilliant part of this movie. It's literally the film's like, I'm saying literally too much. I'm sorry. It's the film showing us the power that the main character has with their wealth, that that he could just slow the movie down for 20 minutes to indulge in this character. And if you want evidence of that, the beginning of that scene, it's winter. At the end of that scene, it's springtime, right? And not just that, but the whole point of the scene before it is spurred on by the main character asking Elizabeth Hupperd's character if, or her asking, or I'm sorry, him asking her to run away with him. And then as soon as this infamous 20-minute dancing is over, the first thing they talk about is whether or not she's going to run away with him. It's right fucking there, dude. And then how the movie expands on that moving forward, you know. I think you just kind of have to see it to believe it, but uh I think there's something to be said. There's something about 3 hour plus movies, right? Movies with long run times that people just automatically want to label self-indulgent, you know, or pointlessly or needlessly long. When sometimes the whole point of a movie is that it has to be this long. Sometimes the sheer length of it, sometimes the runtime. Guys, I tell you, I have a very juvenile sense of humor. Mm. Sometimes a movie's super crazy long runtime is part of the film's like structure and part of its thematic framework. And with Heaven's Gate, like it has taken us through this like very simple journey, but because it is being told through this like outside perspective, of course, it's like the most dramatic and over the top fucking version of it. Like it's all there. And don't get me wrong, Cimino has this style towards all of his movies. It's just that like in Heaven's Gate, it is the most motivated and the most justified by what the movie is actually saying, you know? I haven't seen Megalopolis, but it does look interesting from what I've seen. I'd rather take a bad original movie over a sea of unoriginal, cynical remakes and sequels. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Yeah, 100%, man. And that's you know me, dude. Fucking for those who don't know, Jeremy's been a supporter of this channel, a friend of this channel, for a long time. And I need to go use the bathroom and get some more water really quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on some. I'll be right back here. Give me just 1 second. Share screen. Uh-huh. Okay. Here we go.
And today we're talking about the PlayStation 5 Pro because it seems like somebody over in Germany accidentally got theirs a bit early and they posted a full unboxing. So I decided to watch it and I want to talk about it and look at some clips and stuff because this video is going to be a bit risky. I hope it doesn't get taken down. So feel free to like this video and please subscribe if you haven't already. But I wanted to talk about this because I think it actually gives us a good sense about the system and it actually reveals some stuff that I haven't seen Sony talk about. So let's get into it. Now we're going to watch part of the unboxing, but I'm not going to use the audio of it because they're just speaking German. And I speak about 500 words in German, but most of what they're doing is just, what most people talk about in an unboxing, which is just making jokes with their buddies and showing like power cords and stuff like that. But you can see some comments here. A lot of the German audience is really latching onto this. This guy, Don Bick Injection. So this person saying like, I'm so jealous. Mine comes in a few days. So these pictures, all this data and stuff is coming from someone called Net Games. And this is the first thing that's actually really cool. This is a CMOS battery access port. All right, so the super nerdy, but essentially consoles can eventually die. Like if you've ever owned a copy of Pokemon and been playing it for years and years and years, and suddenly it can't tell the time and date, their CMOS battery is something that's inside of systems and it's also inside of like really old games. It stores particular core data stuff. So it keeps that charged. So even when you unplug your PS5 or unplug your Xbox, it still knows the time and date. And this is very relevant because not only does the system require that, but it actually makes it so the system can live forever. So you can swap out the CMOS and make sure it still understands that stuff down the road. This is a tiny and very niche thing, but it's Sony actually future proofing something, which they don't do a lot. I'm actually shocked and confused they decided to do this, but that is a cool move that I'm sure like a lot of people are going to be happy with. But we also did get some bad confirmation. People have been popping this bad boy open and they've discovered the PS5 plates do not work. The PS5 Slim, some of the plates line up around the disk drive and stuff, but for the other parts, the interlocking teeth are purposely in the wrong spots, meaning that if you're somebody like me who thinks PS5 plates are very cool, I don't know, it's very basic. Obviously, the Xbox 360 when that was coming out, that was in my college years. Obviously, I didn't go to college, but like in my early 20s when I was playing the Xbox 360 a lot, I always thought the customizable faceplates were really cool. This is the customizable faceplates of the PS5. It is a bit weird to me that they just decided to make it where there's not a cross compatibility. I don't care what Sony's excuses are.
I like this guy. Yeah, no, Dreamcast guy is cool for sure. What was I say? What was I gonna say? DCG hates Xbox, and I love my. Yeah, well, I mean, I think Xbox just has a lot of bad news, you know. Unfortunately, I miss uh I miss wanting to own an Xbox. Let's put it that way. I had a 360. And that was the last time I owned an Xbox. Unfortunately, more of a PlayStation guy myself, but respect. You know, peace between gamers, guys. You gotta, you know, we gotta unite. We gotta unite as a whole. You know, as gamers. Okay. So yeah, that's Heaven's Gate. That's Heaven's Gate. And that just leaves with one more movie that I love that everybody seems to fucking hate. And this one truly confounds me. This one truly confounds me. Um, and Perp, I think a little movie, and I think a lot of you guys have probably, you know, been around for a while. Probably see this one coming already. But my number one movie that I love that everybody else seems to hate is J.A. Bayona's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it, man. I do not understand how anybody could like call this a bad fucking movie. A bad script? Yes. Absolutely. I will absolutely concede this is a badly written film in terms of characterization. No, 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 not Dominion. No, Dominion is a fucking awful movie. Okay, listen, do not think that I've lost my perspective here or my taste. Dominion is ass, all right, and Fallen Kingdom, the script is ass, and so I'm not gonna sit here and try to convince anyone that this is a good script, but as a film, the one with the bugs, no, 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 that's the yeah, Dominion's the one with the bugs. Fallen Kingdom is the one with the volcano. But yeah, so first things first, I'm a big J.A. Bayona fan. I've been a big with the rich. Yes, yep, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of J.A. Bayona. I've been a big fan of J.A. Bayona since The Orphanage. So uh I also don't watch trailers. So and I think that's a big reason why a lot of people don't like this movie. I think they don't like the trailer. But anyways, so I didn't know what this movie was about going into it at all. You know, and I'm a Last Jedi guy. I'm a fan of the Last Jedi. I like movies that surprise me, and that subvert my expectations. So this movie was an absolute treat. And the what I will say about Fallen Kingdom is that while it's not well written, you know, dinosaur where they go, no, no, that was the canceled Jurassic Park 4. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so is the script ass? Absolutely. But the direction here, like J.A. Bayona is an A tier director, and he brings his A game to this fucking like D level. Well, okay, C level script, all right? Because here's one thing that bugs me about this movie. Not well written, but it's not fucking like incompetently written, okay? It's just not good. All right. A lot of people make a lot of fucking stink about the end of the movie, right? About the dinosaurs being let out, you know? Um to this movie's credit, I will say this. To this movie's credit, Maisie, right, is I like the beginning, the rest of it felt trashy. But that's the thing, it like the script is trashy. Like J.A. Bayona knows that the script is trash, right? He's not an idiot. He made The Impossible, he made Society of the Snow, The Orphanage, a stranger, God, he made that. What was the one he made in 2016 about the kid with the a monster calls? You know, the dude knows a good script. Like he's directed a lot of movies with brilliant fucking screenplays. So he knows Fallen Kingdom has a shitty script. So what J.A. Bayona does is that he just directs the living fucking shit out of this shitty fucking movie. Like, say what you will about like the overall fucking story. I don't think anybody could deny that the every single scene is executed with like not just like a lot of style, but with like a lot of class, you know, with a lot of imagination. Is it ridiculous? Does it make no sense? Should Chris Pratt's character died in the fucking volcanic smoke? Absolutely, but it's a fucking movie. It's a and it's a Jurassic World movie. It's fine. You know, ultimately, like J.A. Bayona was not responsible for the script. What he was responsible for is delivering a great fucking cinematic experience. And I've seen this movie many times, and it never gets old. Like this movie is just absolutely fun to watch. J.A. Bayona knows that like the characters don't matter. So they barely get any fucking screen time, right? It's all about just moving the story along from one fucking set piece to another. Um, and all the meantime, like he does manage. Let's put it this way: you guys want evidence? If you guys want evidence that J.A. Bayona is fully aware that this script sucks, there are two scenes that have a genuine like emotional response from anybody who watches it, right? And both of them are dinosaur centric. They're not led by the human beings. The first one is everybody knows the brachiosaur from the first film on the pier, like moaning as like the fucking island burns around them and shit. And the second one is little baby fucking Blue, which is done with an actual puppet and shit. Jay like also all the main characters are like flat and one dimensional, and they're all like so simplistic. And if you watch like the decisions he makes in terms of like the dinosaur, the dinosaurs, the animations, and the animatronics, like they're all given such humanistic personality. I mean, the Stigi Mylok at some point just smiles and looks into the camera, dude. I mean, the Indoraptor just smiles and looks into the camera like twice before killing someone. And then you have the Stigi Mylok who bonks its head, gets googly eyes, and then like stumbles. Like it's the dinosaurs are treated more human like. If you can remember this much, you enjoyed it. I saw it in theater when I was tired. I'm an old dude. Oh, dude, I've seen this movie like maybe like 5-6 times. I've seen this movie. No, maybe way more than that now. So I saw it like 3 times in theaters. Anyways, yeah. Um, what was I getting at? So yeah, and then like there's all this stuff with the Indoraptor, which is, I mean, I made a video essay that goes into depth, like with all this. But there's a couple of things that I do want to mention. One, I love that the first half of this movie is the Jurassic Park sequel we all wanted, right? The go back to the island, all the action with the dinosaurs and stuff. The second half of this movie is like shot like Frankenstein. It's shot like a black and white, like Universal horror movie, and like it's done with so much style, with so much great use of light. And I'll check it out again, but I do remember it felt like it was smarter than the writing, the directing, like you say. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And also, if I could recommend something, pay extra attention to the Indoraptor, because a lot of people write it off as this simplistic thing when like if you look at it, like it's always twitching, it's uncomfortable, like it looks like it's always in like a state of discomfort and shit. And pay attention to its relationship with Maisie, right? Because a lot of people say the ending of this movie kills it, that it's stupid, and like they forget that Maisie's character, right? She's the one who lets the dinosaurs free. She is not your average little girl. All right. The movie establishes from the very beginning that she has never left the mansion. They wouldn't allow her to escape because she's a clone, right? I gotta stop saying right. See, I keep catching myself like this. They established that she's a clone. They don't want to let her out, so because they don't want people to find out about her existence, because then that's going to be a whole thing. Um, and she's literally only ever had contact with like her character, her nanny, that the villain, and her grandpa. Those are the only fucking humans that she knows, right? There I go again. They're the only human beings that she knows, and she watches one of them murder the other. She watches the villain murder her grandfather, like right in front of her eyes, right? Fuck. Sorry. So if she learns that she's a clone, okay, and yeah, like the interesting thing about the Indoraptor is that while it is this big fucking scary like monster, it never tries to attack her. It scares the crap out of her. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't ever actually try to like attack her. Not from the very like beginning, from the very first interaction. Like he could clearly reach out and grab her and kill her if he wants to, but he doesn't. And if you pay attention to the context of the dialogue before that, it adds a whole new layer to this story, right? But what I'm getting at is with the end of this movie, which a lot of people criticize as being stupid. Again, Maisie just learned that she's a clone, that she's not a human. The only human beings that she has seen, of the human beings that she has known, one of them has tried to murder the other or has murdered the other. So, of course, in that moment, she would not want to identify with her human like aspects. Of course, she would identify more with like the dinosaurs. When she is introduced as a dinosaur nerd. She is obsessed with them from the very beginning. When she's introduced, she has like a dinosaur costume that foreshadows everything, you know? Like uh like it's right there from the very beginning. And not just that, she's a little kid. Little kids make bad choices. A lot. Well, I mean, could they have stopped her and all that shit? Yeah, sure. The adults could have stopped her, but for all we know, like it's a movie. For all we know, when she pressed it, like there was no fallback or whatever. But it makes sense given the characterization of Maisie that she would feel that way and let them go at the end. You know, um, I can go on and on about how much I love this movie. But I made a video essay if anybody wants to see more about it called Dark Middle Chapters. And yeah, that's it, guys. And we're not even that's only the first third of this show. Get ready, guys. We're in for a long episode today. Or maybe not. Actually, now that I think about it, the next two segments aren't going to be all that long. Because as we usually do, um, we're gonna go ahead and cover the latest in video releases, and it's the first of the month, with which, as most of you guys know, or I think as many of you guys know, is when Vinegar Syndrome and all their partner labels reveal or announce their new uh, releases, and we got a big one this today, guys. We got Congo, 1994's adaptation of Michael Crichton's Congo on 4K. Let's see this set here. Yeah, that's pretty solid cover art here. Slipcase. Yeah, it looks like a slipcase, not a box set. Let's see. See what this restoration looks like. That looks pretty legit. Yeah. No, I mean it's Vinegar Syndrome. Their restoration work is always top notch. Congo for me, oh, it is a magnet box. Wait, oh right, with the okay, so it's a magnet box with the slip cover set and a 40 page booklet, perfect bound book, limited to 10,000 units. Um, hell yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Let's see let's check out their trailer here.
Karen?
I read you, Charles, and I see you.
Well, Eureka and all that.
Bruce Campbell.
What was that?
Amy! It's the jungle. She's been painting the jungle. She wants to go home.
Karen Ross. Professor Karen Ross?
Professor Peter Elliott.
Monroe Kelly. I'm your great white hunter for this trip, though I happen to be black.
I've had those images of that creature analyzed.
Dude.
What is it?
My primatologist tells me it's something new. He doesn't know what it is, what his gorilla like.
You're looking for King Solomon's diamond. It's a lost city of Zinj.
I've given it up.
Oh, you'll never
Oh
give it
yeah,
up.
Sir Robert.
The problem is, how come it doesn't exist?
Gorillas are very smart, but they're not aggressive. These things are very aggressive.
Dude, I just got like a big wave of nostalgia because yeah, no, dude, same. When I was a kid, I used to I used to read a lot of Crichton, and I remember reading Congo after the movie came out. And I remember, dude, I remember watching this movie, renting it all the goddamn time, like over and over again. I'm definitely gonna add that to my needed list. Hold on, let me go ahead and sign in off screen here. Make sure I don't have no personal information out there. All right, back to sharing the screen. Oh, all right. There you go. Yeah, no, so the Congo, I love Laura Linney. Let me see. All right. here. There it is. Although Laura Linney, most of her movies are worth watching. She's really good in Ozarks too. Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome. You know, they're one of the best out there. You guys know I'm a huge fan of them. This looks like a really solid set here. 4K with 10-bit HDR. It's pretty good. New making of documentary. Really excited about the the perfect bound books 40-page booklet though. I'm definitely gonna buy this. I get paid on Thursday, so it's a Vinegar Syndrome Ultra release. Totally gonna buy that. What else do we got here? Looking for Mr. Goodbar, which sounds well, it's just be straight up. It sounds like a porno. It looks like a porno. Vinegar Syndrome does love their porn. And it is a 4K release here. Let's check out the trailer. It looks yep.
As long as you live in this house, you live by the rules of this house. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, Papa. I can't live here by your rules, and I can't. It's time I went. Alone. My place. My money. My rules.
Oh, alone in Mugger's paradise. Well, that's great. Now we can worry about your day and night.
I can't stay here and be myself.
Godfather.
She's like a lot of girls. Alone. Cruises the bars alone. It's kind of sad.
Oh, cheer up. I mean, they don't always leave alone.
You've never been in that bar before.
Huh?
Right?
Right.
So where did you want to go?
It makes me feel good.
You didn't know anybody there.
It's better that way, you know? I mean, you drink and you dance, none of that awful small talk.
I'll keep in touch.
You've got one thing, me.
Oh.
That's what you've got.
Yeah.
And to hold on to me, it's got to be me and only me.
Get this into one of your two heads. The only one that can think. I am my own girl. I belong to me. Now get out of here.
Well, looks like a pretty fun movie. That's like a pretty solid one. Let's see what else we got here for Vinegar Syndrome. They also have a couple of mystery releases here, but we're not going to know. This is a part of their Black Friday, the Black Friday pre-order sale that's going to happen in a few weeks here. I think they're going to be revealed then, and I'll cover those too. I'm probably going to cover my fucking holy shit. All right, Blood Tracks. Let's check it out. Oh shit.
A nice close shot, a close shot. What made you choose our community for your movie?
Solid Gold are not here to make a movie.
We're here to shoot one scene for a rock video that's going to be published with Solid Gold's next album. We're in big trouble.
Look, girls, I need some elbow room right here. You're going to have to move to the back. There are mirrors back there. I cannot do this. We're in big
Nice.
trouble.
What the hell's happening? I don't know.
Must be cool.
Why are you doing this to us?
How come you didn't tell us how cold it was going to be? Yeah, I'm going to freeze my tits off.
Yeah, it's like a pretty solid little slasher movie. Let's see. Heavy metal band Solid Gold are heading up to the Snowy Mountains to shoot their latest music video. Accompanied by their crew and host of scantily clad dancers. However, it's not long before a huge avalanche rocks the area, trapping the rockers in the glorious entourage on the mountain. The group attempts to radio for help, unaware that its troubles have just begun. For nearby, a feral, disfigured family has been. Oh, so it's kind of like The Hills Have Eyes, but like in the snow. Let's see. So it's on Blu-ray, region free. Pretty solid bunch of interviews with the actors and actresses. Right on. Yeah, another solid looking release for Vinegar Syndrome here. What else we got? What else do we got? Oh shit. Yo. Oh, dude. Cannibal the Music. I was this released was this a recent thing? No, yeah. Holy yeah, so this was I think they announced it. Was it? It's just I think it's like a rumored thing for a while, but holy shit. Oh, oh, hell yeah. Let's check out the Vinegar Syndrome trailer here. Oh, they got all right, let's check this out.
Oh, hi, Spiroinko. My name is Oscar Batcher, and today we're going to be talking about a 1993 film originally conceived as Alfred Packard the Musical, now known more commonly as Cannibal the Musical. Shot in 16mm negative film in Colorado, and now that element is lost. So unfortunately, we'll have to pull from something else. It's a sad case, but we sometimes have to remember we don't always get the best case. Sometimes we just have to remember. The cans are blue, but the negative is gone. We had to pull from a digi beta. I think you know what format we'll pull from. When I say it's a dig outer day. The opening of Cannibal the Musical begins with the premise that the film was lost for many, many decades, since the mid-1950s, because it was overshadowed by the great film Oklahoma. Fact is stranger than fiction, and this actual original negative for Cannibal the Musical is now lost, just as the original title said. And that's because in the late 80s, when video became much more easy to use with nonlinear editing, they switched to basically shoot everything, transfer everything to that other format, which was easier to edit in, and then make an access copy from that editing format. So it went from film to video to video. Interestingly enough, Cannibal the Musical also went film to video to film. However, that is something we'll deal with later. We're using another film which was also used in the same process and also edited on video. If you take a look here, what you have on the very first reel is you actually see the clapboard. So when winding through, what you'll see is that this is a negative which has no selections and no omissions. So in the end, what you'd have is an enormous amount of footage. In terms of the long-term storage of these materials, this takes up an enormous amount of space. An original camera negative, which is also an original cut negative, the parts which are not being used and the takes which are not being used are removed, set in a section.
All right, guys. It seems like it's a whole sort of technical thing. Let's see if there's anything more substantial here about the movie itself. Looks like it's just a lot of stuff about the transfer here. Let's check out the trailer for it.
Hoist his body to the sky. It's as nice as a day can be. Won't you come to hang with me? Hang the bastard, hang him well. Send his sorry soul to hell. When his neck bone snaps will blow. And the cannibal won't be killing anymore.
His face will turn red, then purple, then blue. We'll watch from up here to get a good view.
And when his eyes bug out, we'll know it's the end of him.
Oh shit!
Hang the bastard, hang him with cheer. We'll make some hot dogs and drink a few beers. And when his tongue rolls out, we'll know it's the end of the show and we all can go home.
Cowbell solo.
Okay, no, I'm definitely gonna. This is Vinegar Syndrome really came out this month with some good fucking releases here, man. My fucking wallet's gonna be hurting. All right, so Vinegar Syndrome, what was it? Congo for sure. Definitely gonna get the Cannibal the Musical. Black Eyed Susan. Why does it sound familiar? Black Eyed Susan. Film by Scooter McCree. Oh, it's a 2024 film. This special edition spot gloss, side loading slipcase, and slipcover, limited 3,000 units. Let's just check out the trailer. Is this a 4K release? No, it's a Blu-ray. Okay. Yeah, let's check it out.
State-of-the-art sex dolls are not only socially acceptable nowadays, but also highly priced luxury items.
All right, not the conversation I was expecting.
Not everyone buys a doll like this for sex. Some people want companionship. That's why we're developing a sex doll that can take and reacts to physical abuse.
Have you ever hit a person to satisfy your own pleasure?
Not intentionally, no.
I want you to punch me now.
Oh, shit.
Do you think you'll be comfortable hitting a device that looks like a human?
I don't honestly know.
But you're hoping so.
Yes,
Because?
I need the work.
Can't find the words, little man?
Susan has made me aware of some things that I found surprising.
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
The ultimate goal of this project.
Yo.
She only has eyes for you, not Derek.
That is a fucked up
Please
premise.
continue to hit me if it satisfies you.
Whoa, dude, that is. Who directed this? Scooter McCrae? I never even heard of his other stuff. Okay. On Blu-ray, I would have killed for a fucking 4K, but I'll take it. That sounds that sounds like a crazy fucking premise right there, dude. Absolutely. So the other two are going to be revealed. Yeah, I think these are the ones that we covered previously. And yeah, we have a couple of new releases from their partner labels. Let's check them out. 20,000 Species of Bees from Film Movement. The Adult Swim Yule Log. What the hell? There is a lot here to get through. They have a lot of partner labels. So we're just going to click on the real interesting stuff. Let's see. Let me see. The Film Movement Classics. Maybe we'll check up on that right there. This movie came out in 1997. In 1930s Berlin, Max, played by Clive Owen, sleeps with German SA Officer Wolf. Nikolai Coster-Waldau, fucking what's his name from Game of Thrones, only to see him killed by his fellow Nazis the next morning as part of the Night of the Long Knives. Holy crap! Refusing an offer of new papers from his uncle Freddie, played by Ian McKellen. This is a fucking cast, dude. For fear of leaving his boyfriend Rudy behind, Max and Rudy are found by the Gestapo, to whom Max lies about his homosexuality and his relationship with Rudy. Bound for the Dachau concentration camp, Max will have to reckon with his identity and his dignity in the face of a terrible persecution. Yo, that is heavy. Oh, let's check out this trailer here, though. Mick Jagger, too? Oh, wow.
Streets of Berlin, I must leave you soon. Oh, will you forget me? 'Cause I'm really here.
Hey, Mika, how you doing, man?
I don't even know how to kiss or embrace. But you throwing it in
Maggie Smith.
just get us both out alive.
Is it safe? Don't you have any brains at all? No, it's not safe.
Run!
Oh yeah, man, let's hear it. Oh, fantastic. Let's go.
Where are they taking us?
A detention camp. Out of the Dachau.
This isn't happening.
It's happening.
Pink triangle, what's that?
Queer. If you're queer, that's what you wear. Pink's as low as you can get. I love you. Isn't that silly?
Queers aren't meant to love. They don't want us to.
I'm a rotten person. I used to do things right.
Holy shit.
As long as I'm holding you, I'm going to stay alive.
Okay. Oh, that movie looks pretty legit. I'm gonna add that to my wish list. Or to my list. I don't know, man. I don't talk about those dudes no more, bro. To be honest with you. Let's see. Is this like the Adam Green, like the musician Adam Green? Let's see. Came out in 2016. It might be. No trailer or nothing. Aaliyah Shawkat, Natasha Lyonne, a hypersensory, poetic, and humorously modern take on Arabian Nights classic, shot entirely on paper mache sets like Jodorowsky film out of cardboard. The film revolves around Aladdin's dysfunctional family who live in regular town, ruled by the corrupt sultan with a decadent socialite daughter. When Aladdin finds a 3D printing lamp, we are taken on a journey exploring technology, government repression, greed, and true love, all in 82 minutes. This is it looks like an Adam Green music video. That's for sure. Shit. Uh, okay. All right, you got me. You got me, Cartoona. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Factory 25, Better Than Something, the Jay Retard story. The Book of Birdie. I've never heard of that one. This one looks interesting. Fatal Delusion by Saturn Square. Let's see what else we got here, though. Oh, Hitman. Oh, Wrestling with Shadows. Holy crap. They're putting out a Canadian International Pictures. Gandhi's Canadian. 25th anniversary special edition. Um, new interview with Bret Hart. New interview with Paul J. Screwjob. Yeah, the Screwjob specific commentary. So this actually came out, or this was all done in 2022. So yeah, that looks pretty legit right there. Hell yeah. Let's see. Red Rooms from Utopia. This is the one that I'm interested in right here. Is that Julianne Moore? We see you and you are we see you and you are obscene. Okay. Now that's a fucking tagline. Let's check it out.
Que seront dévoilées les troublantes vidéos saisies par le FBI. Les preuves clés qui ont mené à l'arrestation de Ludovic Chevalier.
Ce qu'on va tenter d'établir ici, c'est que Ludovic Chevalier est l'auteur de ces meurtres, qu'il a filmé pour un auditoire privé, prêt à payer pour voir ça en direct, dans ce qu'on appelle des Red Rooms.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a motivé à assister au procès?
J'étais curieuse. J'en profite, j'ai un petit mot à dire à ces groupies. Ben, on vous voit. Vous devriez avoir...
Ok, mais toi, t'es-tu genre une mannequin full célèbre ou genre une joueuse de poker full riche?
Regarde la balle. Et vas-y! J'ai donc à m'excuser pour ce que je vais vous infliger.
Je demande à tous ceux et celles qui ne sont pas concernés de bien vouloir quitter la salle d'audience sur le champ.
Tu sais pas, toi?
Yo, god damn.
C'est que ce gars-là, il travaillait tout seul.
Okay. God damn, dude, these fucking trailers, I tell you. All right, that's I'm adding that to my wish list as well. That looks fucking great. All right, let's see what else we got here. What is Fatal Delusion? Let's see. Come on, 1995. Would I even be? Okay. I'm not gonna risk getting a fucking strike, so we're gonna check that out some other time. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude, definitely. Cool movie. I hate subtitles. I don't know, man. I've learned to live with them for sure. Let's see. What else do we got? Violent Cop 6, Boiling Point, Pretending I'm a Superman, Santa Claus and the Martians, holy shit, and other holiday hallucinations. For the American Genre Film Archive. Let's check out the trailer here. By the way, for those who don't, well, actually, never mind. I'm not sure. Let's see.
And Mrs. Santa Claus has positively identified the kidnappers as Martians.
Hooray for Santa Claus! Yay, yay for Santa Claus! He's fat and round, but jumping Jiminy. He can climb that any Jiminy. When we hear sleigh bells ring, our hearts go sing-a-ling. 'Cause there'll be presents under the tree. Hooray for Santa Claus!
Oh, dude, yeah, I can't. This looks, that looks fucking awesome. Let me see. Hell yeah, dude. Now that looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, so Vinegar Syndrome and their partner labels, as always, coming through with some awesome, awesome stuff here. Um, uh, the show has gone on for long enough, so I'm not going to go through every single one of it. But yeah, you guys are always welcome to Reefer Man. Oh, there's going to be the movie musical of Reefer Madness, but some other really interesting looking stuff here. We'll be checking it out some other time. But it is coming towards the end of our show here. And as always, we like to end with watching a short film. And today I thought we were going to watch a cosmic horror film here. It's let's see, directed by Matt Sears over on his channel with his name on it. Written by Ryan Grundy, starring Chloe Fox, Charlie Christoph, cinematography by Jay Slater, music by Tangeline Bolton, and editing and post production by Matt Sears. So delightful and delusional. Oh yeah, no, I think actually the director of Martian, Santa Claus Conquers the Martian, is actually a director of Mexican B movies named Rene Cardona. I'm pretty sure, but I need to verify that. All right, guys, let's kick back, relax, and watch this little 11-minute cosmic horror film, The Sky.
Okay. Never have I ever been to France.
You know I have. Mm,
Right?
okay, this is going to be easy. Never have I ever shoplifted.
Okay. I got one. Never have I ever eaten an avocado.
Now you're taking the piss. You've definitely had an avocado before.
No, that's not my scene.
Never have I ever had a one-night stand.
Okay, I have one. Never have I ever
Nah, bro, I don't think so.
tried shrooms.
Victoria, what are you
Uh-oh, here we go.
I thought they might distract us.
I can't believe it's actually happening. Never have I ever.
So scared.
I love this setup.
Me neither. Oh. Mm. Ugh. Oh. Ugh. Oh, it's gross. Ugh.
Ellie, I need to tell you. I wish I could go back and change what I did. I ruined everything between us. I'm so sorry. You're my little girl. I can't be away from you today. I'm coming to the pier. Please wait for me. If I don't make it in time, just know that I love you.
Shit.
What is it?
It's my mum.
What?
She's left the house and she's gonna come look for me.
Wait, where are you going?
Well, she thinks I'm somewhere else and I can't leave her alone today.
Why not? She doesn't give a shit about you.
Yeah, I
Ellie.
know, but she's my mum and I can't leave her alone like this.
Okay, but a mum doesn't kick out her daughter every time she has a new boyfriend.
Look, why don't you come with me?
It's too late. I mean, look.
What the hell, dude? This is fucking.
Let's just stay here together. We're each other's family, remember?
Oh, I like the change of the color. Here we go. I don't know, man. Maybe. What a great shot, man.
Are you okay?
I feel really weird. Can I have some water?
Yeah. It will feel like really good soon. I mean, yeah, whatever.
It is pretty amazing.
I feel like this is how most people will probably
Sky
go
is
out.
beautiful.
Stoned.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going
I'm
on
glad
the
I
next trip if I see the end of the world.
I mean, the pier's too far away anyways. What's wrong?
I never mentioned the pier. How do you know where my mum's going?
I don't.
What
Ellie.
did you do?
I'm sorry. I knew she was gonna try and find you.
Oh my god! What are you doing? Stop! Get the fuck away from me!
Oh shit.
I'm sorry, Ellie. Ellie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Ellie.
I think they're getting a lot out of the setup. I think it's supposed to be some sort of cosmic event. No, I haven't. There's something out of Melancholia.
Wait! I'm sorry, Ellie. Ellie! I'm so sorry. Ellie. Ellie.
I like that. Right on. Right on. Good stuff. Directed by Matt Steer. Written by Ryan Grundy. I think I already went over through all that. I thought it was a pretty solid movie. I kind of think it's a stretch calling it a horror film. I get why it's probably easier to market that, but personally, I think it worked very well. Just as a little character study between like these friends facing the end of the world together. I think what it is really well done, really accomplished. I think the special effects are really interesting, are really well done as well. Yeah, great movie. And that's gonna be it for today's stream, guys. Thank you all for hanging out in chat. If you're watching this post live stream, make sure you say hi in the comments below and hit like if you haven't already. Yeah, next week I'll be back with some more Disenfranchised. Until then, I've been Ed. You guys have been awesome. Hold on. What is this? Here we go. That's what I need. I watched the backroom stuff. Pretty good horror. No, I haven't actually. Maybe I'll check it out next week. Yeah. Thanks for joining Gogol Po. Gogol Po. I don't think I've seen you around before. So welcome to yeah, welcome to the show. All right, guys. See you next week.